are you?
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to talk to you because I love the street level Marvel heroes. They're some of my favorite characters to kind of get to dive into. And so I really loved Echo as a series and getting to see her go back to kind of her roots and see Maya as a like with people she knew when she was younger. For you, what was the joy of getting to take Maya out of, the storyline of New York and get to take her back to her family and understand where she came from?
I love being and portraying Maya. We get to see this deep dive into her story of her leaving New York City and going back home to Oklahoma. And that's where she tries to rediscover her roots and herself. And that when she finds out things are going on in Oklahoma, she realizes that her family is there and she really cares about them and they'll be there for her no matter what. So it's really nice for me as a character being Indigenous myself, and Maya is Indigenous as well. I grew up on a reservation in Wisconsin, and Maya goes back to her reservation roots as well. So it's really nice to have that connection with the character in some sort of way. And it's very nice to be able to portray her. And I'm able to see her reconnecting through her roots and discovering what family means to her is so important and nice. And I really enjoy acting as her.
And you get to have not only an iconic Daredevil fight sequence, because those are things that, fans of Daredevil really look for. But Maya also has a really badass fight sequence when she's in the bowling alley. When you read on paper that these things are happening and you get to see this character kind of come into her own and be her own badass in the midst of all of this going on with Kingpin, are you excited about the challenge of getting to make that fight sequence come to life, or are you just like, oh no, now I'm gonna have to really kind of step up all of my training and figure out exactly how to make this become a reality?
I remember reading the script and reading about that fight scene with Daredevil, and I thought this must be a huge moment for me because Daredevil is such a well-known character. He's in the MCU, but and I would read it and I would be like, oh my gosh, oh crap, this is going to be a lot of training, and I want to make sure everything is perfect and it looks good, because we have high expectations of Daredevil, and I know I don't want to disappoint the Daredevil fans as well. So, but working with Charlie Cox, he is so sweet. I worked with him for a few days, like for the entirety of the filming. He was so sweet, and he made work and the choreography and the practice before the rolling, everything was so seamless and smooth. And so we probably had a couple days to film that fight scene, and it was very fun. I very much enjoyed working with him.
And it's just, I love watching Maya fight. I think it is just one of the coolest things to kind of see how she uses everything around her to her advantage. When in this show in particular, I do love that she has to go to somebody in her hometown. He has to help her kind of fix her leg, and she then makes it herself as well. For you as an actor, is it fun to like have those little things be a part of Maya as a character?
I think it's really cool. I've never seen anything like this with a prosthetic leg or limb or anything. I'm very grateful that we're making history by adding this character with a prosthetic amenity. And I think it's cool that Maya has 3 different kinds of prosthetic legs as well. She has a regular leg that she walks on. She had like what we call a garbage or a trash leg. It was made of those rubber bike springs as well, and it had a lamp head on it. And Scully made that for me. That was his name. And that was the trash leg. And then we had the superhero leg. And of course, that one was my favorite. And I just think it was so cool to showing, that Maya can use her leg as a weapon as well. I think the superhero leg is my favorite because there's weapons inside the leg as well. There's a knife, there's a laser. That's got to be my top favorite because it shows like that is an ability within my superpowers. And I think it's a very cool to show the leg and in the whole series in the process.
Yeah, and also I love that Echo came out at the same time that fans are being introduced to a brand new Indigenous character within Marvel. For you coming into, not only Maya getting her own show, but now this new character also getting a time in the What If series. how exciting is it to see that kind of representation in something like the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
It's a really nice feeling to have this empowering feeling because, as I mentioned earlier, is we're making history. This TV show is about an indigenous character that is deaf and an amputee and a superhero. That's a lot of communities that I feel like I have to advocate for. So it feels very empowering to know that my community, my indigenous community, can be so proud of me and seeing themselves represented on the screen and seeing their culture authentically represented and being in collaboration with the Choctaw tribe and making sure that their traditions and their characters and are portrayed in an accurate way. I think it's a huge step in Hollywood in the right direction, adding diversity and inclusivity and representing accurately in not only in front of camera, but also behind the scenes too. We had indigenous writers, indigenous director as well. We had an indigenous consultant. And there's a lot of indigenous people that were on set making this movie happen. So it was very empowering.
And I absolutely love everything about this show, but I do love that Echo and Maya has to kind of be this very serious figure in the midst of, her old family not necessarily being the most serious of people. Do you ever wish you got to have those funnier moments that Maya's family gets to kind of play into in the show?
I loved playing Maya, of course, but sometimes I did want to, play a different type of role. Not because, I'd love to get offered more other roles if I'm not portraying Maya, of course. I'd love to try the funnier parts or anything like that, but I do like being involved in the show as well and doing those moments. But I enjoyed bringing Maya to life in any way that I could. I loved telling her story, and I think it was very fun to be on set with them, but I would love to be able to, any future projects, I'd love to be able to play something new too.
And I have, every time I see a new set image from Daredevil, I get a little sad that Maya is not there. Uh, do you
I
see
know.
do you see a storyline for Maya in the future, or what is your dream of for this character in the MCU going forward?
I want my character to cross paths with other MCU superheroes as well, especially Daredevil. Of course, we are aligned in the comic book together, so I would love to be able to bring that to life. So we'll see what the future holds, but I'm hoping that those opportunities come my way. I'm waiting for you, Marvel. Come on. I would love to be able to portray Maya in Daredevil, though.
Yeah, I listen. Frank Castle showed back up. I was like, all right, well, I know Fisk is here. Where's Maya? There's no reason Maya hasn't rolled up to New York in Daredevil Born Again. But what I think is so special about,
Absolutely.
Maya in both what's so special about both Maya in Hawkeye and in Echo as a show is that she is going through something and trying to kind of come to terms with the life she knew and where she kind of wants to go. And it's such an important message to see. Taking all that action side out of it, what is your favorite part of just Maya as a character?
My favorite part of Maya, I think she's a very complicated character because she was raised in Oklahoma, of course, with her biological family. And that's where she was fully loved at that time with her family. And then she was taken out of that by an adopted uncle or father that was in a life of crime. And it made Maya become a killer, and she wants to become Queenpin, and that's her new goal. And I think it's interesting that she becomes this very complicated person, but at the same time, I feel sad for her because I don't know. I'm just so happy Maya is going back to rediscover herself back in Oklahoma and find her old self. She's, well, really her cousin, but it feels like her sister. She's able to reconnect with Bonnie. Bonnie is such a heartful person. She's full of soul and heart, and she's kind of reminding her, Maya, about her past. And I really think that it's a complicated character, but it's very challenging to portray her, and I really like that. She's dark and gritty, and I think I just love portraying her.
I love watching you play Maya, but I also love little Maya. She makes me so happy every time I get to see little Maya. When you are watching this back and seeing how this character goes from a younger version of herself into your version of Maya, how does that feel as an actor to like see those younger moments and take those into your performance if you do?
A fun fact about little Maya is she is actually my little cousin. We are from the same reservation. Yep, and she did not know any sign language before portraying little Maya, and she picked up ASL in probably less than 2 or 3 months. And man, she did an amazing job. And it was just really kind of weird to see little Maya as my cousin, because a lot of people think that we do look alike. My family and I don't really think so, but I get that all the time. But when I watch her act and she's able to pick up ASL at the last minute, she killed it on screen. So that's a pretty cool fun fact moment.
Yeah, I love it. And before I leave, I just want to say you and I both lost our fathers around the same time. And so I looked to your Instagram and your stories and everything a lot because it meant a lot to me as someone who was going through it. And it's so like to see your success now, it's like I understand that feeling of when you're like, oh, I have all this success, but it's like, well, I also suffered this loss. Right now, with all of this joy and everything, how does it feel knowing that like he's probably so excited that you're on this journey, that Echo got her own show, and that you are continuing to bring this not only representation but really cool badass character to life in the MCU?
Oh, definitely. I understand exactly what you went through. And I know my dad is up there looking down and he's just so effing proud of me because when I found out that I got the role for Hawkeye, I had tears of joy and he did too. And it's rare for him to have those tears of joy. But, my dad always wanted to become an actor as well. So I think it's interesting that I kind of followed in his path, but I know he's up there full of joy looking down on me, and he's also with his mother, my grandma. And I do of course wish he was here physically, but I also know that he's always here with me spiritually. So yeah.
I feel very weirdly proud of you for Echo. I love it so, so much. But I love that you were a new mom being a badass, and it makes me just so happy. But thank you for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, of course, thank you so much for having me. Thank you. I hope you have a great day.
You too. Bye.